Office Space.
Office Space.
Office Space.
Office Space.
All right, everybody, welcome to Office Space Podcast. We are back, and I got to be honest, it's been a struggle to get here.
It has. It definitely has.
Let's just kind of catch up real quick. What's going on with you guys? Anything new?
Life's good right now. How about you?
It's pretty good. Just trying to keep up with the New Year's resolutions the best I can. You know?
New Year's resolution. So we are in the middle of January.
Yes.
2025.
2025.
And full disclosure, we have tried to film this podcast since before New Year's.
Yeah.
We talked about, I think this is our third or fourth attempt.
Yeah. I think
And it's
real,
just,
for sure.
last time it was completely my fault with the scheduling thing. And then we've had technical issues and then lighting issues. And so we were trying here. All right. So we do have New Year's resolutions, and we'll kind of catch everybody up with that. But why don't you guys kick it off? What do you guys do? New Year's resolutions? What are they?
Yeah, I do. This year was pretty simple. It was very much kind of reading cover to cover of the Bible and taking a little bit more time specifically for me. If that's the spiritual side of it, it's because busyness of schedules and all of that kind of stuff, it happens, to where
Sure.
that kind of falls off. Even I remember a pastor saying one time, he goes, when I wasn't in full-time ministry, I just prayed to the Lord that I could be in full-time ministry to pray and read my Bible all day. And he goes, now that I'm in full-time ministry, I pray that I don't have to be in full-time ministry, that I can pray and read my Bible all day.
Yeah.
And so it's like this thing where everybody might think that we're just up in the office just interceding, and that's not.
You guys don't do that?
No, that's not the way it works out.
I just levitated down right now.
But that's kind of the more spiritual thing, I guess, for my New Year's resolution. But a more of a challenge of a resolution was presented to me by Reverend Aaron Breeze over here, and he petitioned me to not drink any rock stars from January to January. And if you know me,
That's a big deal.
that's I have been known to drink up to 6 in a day. That's pretty. 3 is a very normal day for me. 3 rock stars.
Let me just be candid. Like, I'm just trying to save Josh's life. I just want him to live longer, and because I enjoy the good sugar-free rock star just like everybody else. But I was not on your level.
Yeah,
not even close.
I drink a lot of them. But I have not had one since January, the beginning of January, since the beginning of 2025.
So you're about two and a half weeks.
Yeah,
about 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks in.
Yeah,
What?
the withdrawals are real, bro.
Yeah,
The withdrawals are real. No, very much so. Yeah, no, it's a struggle. I think it might be attributed to like my addictive personality. I get really like, it's my thing. And
Is that with anything, or do you get like anything you're into? You
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's bad.
Hooked
Until I feel as if I have overcome like the mastery of a thing. Even like, it's just, I think it's kind of a family thing, because my brother's the same way.
Yeah.
That if we start anything, I will do everything that I can to be as close to an expert as I possibly can, and then I just forget that I ever did it and just move on to the next thing. Like Austin, this is way off topic. Austin used to shoot like trap shooting and skeet and things like that, and he was shooting with the Olympic team for a little bit. Like, he would just show up, and you'd like drive down to LA and would shoot in these like national competitions, and was like winning and going like,
That's awesome.
doing great. And then because he felt like he was good enough at it, I just don't do that anymore. And then now he just golfs. Now he just golfs. It's crazy.
I remember playing like poker with him and just different card games. It didn't matter what we were doing. He'd always pretend like he didn't know how at all. He goes, "What? How do you play this game? Is this? Do you need aces?"
And then
in this?
just run the
Shut up, Austin. All right, so no rock stars, kind of doing a health kick thing. And Dave, he just kind of right before we started airing, he told us he was in on the Rockstar thing too, and then he drank one today. So tell us about that.
Yesterday.
Oh, yesterday.
Yesterday. Okay.
Yeah, yesterday.
How
So I will be occasionally enjoying rock stars here and there. I'm sorry, guys. But
Sorry.
But I will be for the next 6 months eating healthier, eating better, cutting out sodas and
Yeah. So
doing that.
because we committed, well, I think it started with Josh and I, and then we roped Dave into it. But we wanted to do 30 pounds in 6 months. So averaging 5 pounds a month, and that'll get us to 30. I think I'm doing good. I've been consistent. I've been doing well. I feel good. I've been hitting my workouts and eating healthy. So
I'm
Dave,
almost 10 pounds down.
nice.
Yeah, I'm
Heck
almost 10 pounds down. Yeah.
I never weighed to begin with, so I don't know.
That's a great way to start it. Yeah.
But
So
which I probably needed to do that before
Yeah.
I get too serious.
yeah. So but I want to know on camera and because I thought you were committed to the Rockstar thing, and I get it. You're gonna do yours occasionally, whatever.
Yeah.
Are you committing to the 30 pounds in 6 months, or are you just like, hey, I want to be a little bit?
I am going to do my best, yes, to
Okay.
30
have
pounds in 6 months.
30 pounds in 6 months. I'm going to try.
That's good.
Yeah. Have you guys ever like always been a New Year's resolution?
No.
Me either.
No, never. Like, that's not
Either.
because
I've been like anti.
you very much like because it used to get on my nerves a little bit. And if I would do one, I knew that I wasn't going to do it. So now what's the point? And then I would watch everybody else make New Year's resolutions. And then like 3 months in, it's like going to the gym. I don't go to the gym often, as you can tell, but, but I do know there's a difference to going to the gym right after New Year's and going to the gym,
For
like,
sure.
a couple months later, like the machines are open.
Yeah.
Hey, it'll be full for a month or two.
Yeah.
I actually did this because I kind of started in December knowing what I was going to try to do in January, but I've seen the gym flux too of
Yeah.
January to February and how it all just drops off.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see kind of December to January, and sure enough, man, stinking. Like I'm all for everybody getting healthy, but like now I'm waiting for a machine that you're not even doing right. You're on your phone, don't even want to be here.
Yeah.
So that kind of gets on my nerves. The whole everyone's working out now. But it's already, I mean, what is it? It's like the 20 something. I don't know, whatever date it is, but it's dropped off quite a bit already.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't see those same people.
That's
Like,
crazy. Yeah. Well, that's
So.
good. Yeah. Your resolutions. What did you say yours?
Yeah, so I again doing the eating healthy, losing the weight, but also I gave originally, and I'll let everybody in on that. I gave like a really unrealistic spiritual resolution where I wanted to win 100 people to Jesus this year, but not just win them to Jesus, like being part of their life or disciple people, just be able to watch 100 people grow in the Lord. And then I started to do the math. The math wasn't mathing. Because one of the stipulations wasn't like, it doesn't count if like you're preaching to a large audience or, if you get 30 people to raise their hand and they give their hearts to the Lord. Like it was just kind of like through meeting them in the street or in the store or just in life, and building relationships with people. 100 is way too many. Jesus did it with 12 and then they, and then went from there. So, but I do, nevertheless, I do have a resolution to, not be more effective in ministry, because I feel like it's been effective, but more intentional with soul winning and discipleship specifically.
Yeah.
Not in leading teams to do it, not just personally. Like I want to, I don't know, be more effective.
Oh, that's awesome.
Agreed.
That's
That's good.
awesome.
Any other resolutions from you guys?
No, I don't think I have any. I mean, just be a better dad and husband.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just kind of the normal thing.
Yeah.
But I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of transitioning out of the last 10 minutes of talking about us
Being
not
fat.
being fat and
Yeah.
not drinking rock stars. I asked you guys this before. Same question. And I want them, the audience, the office space. What do we call them? Office Space watchers.
We call both of our viewers viewers. I think. I think we call them spouses. 'Cause that's probably all I watch.
If you had, say, you had the ability to take away a singular ability from a person, and this person, I asked it this way. I said enemy when I texted to you guys, but that's not what I mean. Not an enemy, not somebody that you want to see, like, really, like, you're not fighting for your life against this person.
Because as Christians, we have no enemies, right?
Except the one of our soul.
We got him. We're supposed to pray for him. We got him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess that's valid, huh? He never said don't have enemies. He said pray for those suckers.
Right? Yeah.
All right.
Anyways, so say you were granted the ability,
yes,
by a genie or whatever, a genie, whatever. But you were granted the ability.
This is by the way, this is a Christian podcast, so just go.
Yeah, and they all have seen Aladdin, but it's say you were granted the ability to take away the ability from somebody. One of the enemies that you're supposed to be praying for, a person that just gets on your nerves, somebody that's under your skin, somebody that's, and we all have those. Like, I get it. There's people out there that just love everyone. I have not arrived to that point yet. There are people that very legitimately, like, you kind of irritate me a little bit. And I would never say that to a person, be like, bro, you get on my nerves. But because there's not very many, and I can't really think of very many people off the top of my head that really do. I just know in the past, BC, like, there's a person that I would have wished this on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, take away one of their abilities. It can't be any of the five senses, and it can't be like, I'm going to take away their ability to walk or to talk or
that's harsh.
Anything. That's crazy. For instance, this isn't mine, but I thought about this, and I was like, it'd be just something that's super annoying, is that you remove their ability to text anyone back or to text anyone in at all.
Yeah.
To where and that would be, to me, that would be really annoying.
Yeah, but except now today you could be like, hey Siri, text so and so, and they'd be like,
no, just the ability. Josh. The ability. What doesn't? No, see that loophole guy over here. No, there is just zero ability whatsoever to send any type of written formatted message to a person.
So Dave, what's yours?
Oh, that's a great question. I think that man, I don't have an answer right now. I need to think about it.
How about you?
So mine is, I would take away the ability for that person to ever be able to satisfy the DMV.
That's so annoying.
Right? So we've all been there where we have to do registration renewals, or we have to get it smogged, or we have to put something on non-op, take it off non-op, all these different things. And I've been in a situation a couple times where it's like, oh, nope, you've got to go pay that fee first, or you have to go get it smogged first, or whatever. Yeah. And so I would take away the ability from that person to ever satisfy the DMV. They would always just have another thing. They'd always have to get back in line and wait for H4 window number 10. Like, they would have to do that over and over.
That's horrible, dude. Yeah, I don't like that one at all. You think of one yet?
That's tough.
That would be rough. I would hate that. I was just at the DMV yesterday, so yeah.
Because I'm thinking of that feeling of disappointment when you're up there and you're like, yes, I'm going to get my sticker. Oh, I got to go back home.
Yeah.
That feeling.
I've had it. It's the worst. And imagine. Yeah. I mean, if you guys ever seen the movie Zootopia with the sloth that's just like so slow in the DMV, it would be that over and over. It'd almost be like Groundhog Day at the DMV.
Yeah.
It's tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I would think I would take away their ability to think strategically, like to come up with strategies against you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's an ability, is it?
Well, is this person? Hang on, you said against you. Like, is this person trying to attack you and your family?
Like, I don't.
Because if that
it's just somebody that gets on your nerves.
Yeah,
I mean,
if we're on the battlefield, I don't care about the DMV. Like, I'm gonna.
Yeah. No,
I can't think of anybody. Like, who's?
It's because you're so nice.
It's because you're sweet.
I'm not. I can't come up.
I'm
with
a Sour Patch Kid, bro.
Keep thinking, because I'm not.
yeah.
I don't want to accept that one.
Okay. Take away their ability to strategize is
strategize.
crazy.
So essentially, you're never gonna think again.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's
I can't figure out how to open this door. That's crazy.
What about you, Josh? What's yours?
The ability to wipe the corners of your mouth. Ever again.
I'm gonna try it right now.
You
There
never
we go.
get to wipe the corners. Could you imagine you're sitting down at dinner
That's rough.
and you take a bite of food and say you're on a date with your wife and you're trying to be
Yeah.
like all romantic and everything, and you take a bite of your steak and a little bit of steak sauce is just there, and there's nothing you can physically do to
Yeah.
wipe the corner of your mouth. Could you imagine?
that would be rough.
You go
Especially
for-
if you have like facial hair and it's just like
It's just there.
There's nothing worse. Like I used to have a pretty decent beard, and I shaved it almost solely because anytime I eat barbecue sauce,
Yeah.
it just feels so nasty.
Eating a lot of barbecue
It's
sauce,
just-
huh?
Oh yeah, for sure. not since January, but no, it for sure just it smears in, and you have to wash it out.
Well, imagine going for a job interview and you're brushing your teeth and you look up and you've got like the
Yeah.
and there's nothing you can do about it. I just stick your head under the shower, maybe. I don't know,
That's
but
rough.
your ability to wipe your face, it doesn't exist.
Okay,
That would be mine.
Dave, you
Yeah, I guess I thought of this one before, but I guess their ability to when you get that that itch on the bottom of your foot, and when your shoes are on, you're just itching like that.
never
They don't
be
have-
able to scratch
Scratch
the
an
itch.
itch?
Right. It
That's
just
rough.
feels like that.
That is rough. That's
That-
way worse than mine. That's way worse than mine.
right.
I don't know if it is though, because if
To never be able to scratch.
yeah, but
the
if
itch.
you have something on your face, it's gonna itch too. You can't wipe it off. Plus, people see it.
Yeah. I think maybe that's more of like a mental internal
Like the
Mind game,
DMV
that's
thing,
crazy.
like just give up and just take a bike. You know what I mean? Like just
Yeah.
start walking it.
Yeah.
For Dave, I mean that's rough. Not being able to scratch an itch, but I think yours is the worst. Like out of all three of them, I would want yours
Yeah.
the least.
I asked my sister this question, and she said never to be able to trim your toenails or fingernails. Like it's just you'll never be able to do it. I was like,
Eventually-
that's so bad.
Eventually, they
That's a
break
good one.
off. I
Yeah.
think, but
Yeah,
that's,
but just never be able to trim them.
that's nasty. So let me ask you. We'll
Okay.
kind of just stay on this because it's
Okay.
just fun. Because you said genie,
Yeah.
that immediately makes me think of 3 wishes.
Oh, for sure.
You have 3 wishes.
Oh my goodness.
Same typical genie rules apply, right?
Okay.
Like you can't make anybody fall in love.
No raising the
Can't
dead.
bring anybody back from the dead. You can't wish for more wishes,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that's everybody's go-to.
Mhm.
You get 3 of them. What are they? What do you guys got?
World peace.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, dude, of course, Dave.
Okay, so now there's world peace. Thank you, Pastor David Dean Leroy Cox.
Oh man, these questions. Come on. Let's see.
You got 2 left.
What else does he need? He has world peace.
Peace. Wow. Yeah.
You just don't want a nicer car or a hot tub. Well, I don't know. You know what?
Financial
No,
security.
no.
Financial security.
Yeah.
See, even the way he words it is like you're just like
Yeah.
there's no
Hang on. I got.
What am I supposed to say?
I know.
like,
bunch of money.
financial security is like, yeah, I would like to make $100,000 a year and that's it. And then all my bills are paid and it's wonderful and I can afford to go to Pismo.
After world peace.
Like, that's crazy.
No, but let me. I know. I can guarantee this would be Dave's if we talked about it first. Unlimited gift card to KFC.
oh, for sure.
Oh man.
Just like a selfish
Think about
like,
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that one of your 3?
That's a great one. That's a great one. That's a great one.
Yeah.
But I would say this: financial security is unlimited.
Gift cards to KFC.
That's true. Or
It
maybe
is.
it's financial security because you're not spending all that money on KFC. So
Yeah.
what does that mean?
Yeah.
Just always financially secure no matter what decisions you make.
No, well, I don't know. That's deep.
Now that you say it that way. All
Yeah,
right.
so
All right.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Pastor Dave.
There you go.
World peace, unlimited KFC, and financial security.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Josh, 3 wishes.
3 wishes. World peace. No, I'm just kidding.
nice.
If I had one
Probably. There's like selfishly, like just kind of like what
Yeah,
I, like
just
if I
have fun,
just
There's already world peace. We don't have
yeah,
to
like
use
I don't
it.
have to do
Yeah.
that. So
That's already
okay.
exists.
This is when you first said this to me because I'm thinking genie and I'm thinking genie. I'm thinking Aladdin. I'm thinking Middle East. I'm thinking like all of these things, right? Like what?
Okay.
I would like if I had one wish to be twice as wealthy as the most wealthy sultan. Which these guys are trillionaires. They're not billionaires. They're
that's
they're
real-
they're
that's real
trillionaires.
wealth,
They're
yeah.
like real wealth. To be twice as wealthy as the richest sultan in the Middle East. So like multiple trillions of dollars.
So okay, but let me ask this: Why cap it there? Like, why is that? Just because that exists? So
I think just because it
twice as
exists and
much?
just twice as much as whatever that is.
Okay.
Yeah. Because if I just said infinite amounts of wealth, I mean I could.
I mean, if you have trillions of
dollars,
trillions,
that's infinite amounts of wealth. I mean, that's.
I'm just
think-
curious. Yeah.
I don't know because it's the least like humble answer that I can give. So maybe putting a cap on it adds a little humility
No,
to it.
it doesn't. It doesn't. But you're number one.
My
Number one.
wish is to be the wealth is just, but no, I think because we said selfishly. I mean, I would think that would just be insane.
Number two.
But then number two, this is what's crazy. If anything else I'd wish for, I'd be able to just do because I have what all of that is. The trillions of dollars. I could do anything else I wanted to
I would
do.
challenge that because I think one of my wishes, and I don't know, because I thought immediately, I honestly thought no cancer. I get rid
You
of
guys
cancer.
are so much better than I am.
No, because I'm
people are
selfish.
sweet.
No. If I can just do one good one, I'll be selfish with the next two. But then I thought, well, why limit it to cancer? What if I said sicknesses and diseases?
I want to change my KFC one. Okay, after hearing that,
No.
You go eat your chicken, and I will.
the
wow.
You established world peace. That's
Yeah.
great. So now I'm taking out right away no sickness and diseases. Gone. Wish number one.
Okay, I'm still on.
Yeah, that's
good
fine.
man.
You're wealthy. I'll just
Okay,
call
so
you
I go
out for
number
money.
two.
KFC.
No more sicknesses and diseases.
Right.
Wow. We're getting some stuff.
I'll tell you what I would do.
Did you only
because
give two wishes?
I've only given one.
Oh.
I tell you what, because I hate it so much.
Yeah.
I hate it with every fiber of my being. I hate drugs.
Yeah.
I would remove the
So good.
the drug things and we're like addictive drugs like that, and I would definitely do that. I hate drugs,
Very good.
like that sort of thing. Like so, we have world peace, we have no more sickness and disease. We've removed drugs from the world. I mean, that's
So I would. Well, do you want to give your third, or do you just want to bounce it back and forth?
we bounce back and
All right.
forth.
I
It's
would.
amazing.
I'm trying to think how to word it because if there was a genie, I don't want him to like, I got you. You know, I'm trying to be careful. But my thought process is to allow people to have a understanding of biblical truth.
Mm.
Like you know how
Mm.
you know as you walk with God, you kind of grow in the Lord and you learn of His ways and things like that. To have everybody have that
Mm-hmm.
that to know that Jesus Christ is Lord and what He did on the cross and like to have that across the world, like it was like a birthright that they like we know if you turn on a light switch, the light comes on. We know all like it's just something that basic. Like it's
Yeah.
not.
So you
that would
said you
be-
were going to do two selfish ones if you get one good one, and now you're over here being like,
no,
oh,
because I think
Wow.
the last one. I just need one selfish one really.
yeah.
I think if we can get those two established, then
Yeah,
I'll feel good.
because
About
if you had one selfish one, you could just be like, okay, my final wish, I wish for 3 more wishes. There you go.
it. You can't wish for more
wishes.
Did you not hear the rules?
You can't wish for more wishes.
No, but
right.
Jesus handles all these things we're talking about right now. He handles peace.
Yeah.
He handles sickness. There's healing.
However, and not to get too controversial on this topic, but yeah, it still exists.
Very much.
Whether that's because people don't walk it out, people aren't following His ways, people, whatever it is. Obviously, the problem is on our end of the deal, not His.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Right. So
we all
sure.
deal with it every day.
So it does exist. So I would assuming God wouldn't get mad at me for it, I would just do a cheat code for people
Yeah.
because it's hard being a human, right? So
Yeah.
So let us solve the world problems while you eat your chicken, okay, Dave? That's not fair.
So
'cause
we
you were
have-
first.
So you have that. I had twice as rich as the richest sultan. And then we did removing drugs. I did remove drugs. And you said the cheat code and cancer or all sicknesses gone.
Yeah.
I honestly think one thing that, and my kids notice it a lot is if we could do homelessness, get rid of homelessness. Like if every person could have a very legitimate home that they could stay in. But then that's such a deep thing because there's so many people that are homeless because of their mental state, because of
I think it's part of
choices,
part of a larger conversation, but already there's no drugs. So that's going to have a huge impact, right?
Yeah.
Also, in the midst of that, people are going to have an understanding of truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to have a huge impact. They're going to understand who they are in Christ and all of that. But also, you're going to be the richest man in the world. You could just buy housing.
I could buy housing.
This is done.
But that's yeah, I think so.
Like I think we just
we solved all the
homelessness.
world's problems. Yeah, homelessness
And
doesn't
Dave would
exist.
just be eating his chicken. That's fine.
Yeah.
Hey, that chicken was kind of just thrown out there, and if it's thrown
I
out
was
there,
just
I'm
gonna
gonna
say
grab it.
The
Hey,
funniest thing is that it wasn't even your idea, but the moment you heard it,
it sounds good.
I'm not for some
sounds
chicken
good.
right now.
All
We're looking
right.
at $5 chicken bowls right now.
My number 3. If it has to be selfish,
Mm-hmm. And it does.
because there are a bunch, like, and not in any particular order, and it's not. I thought at first, get rid of sin. You can't do that. You can't take away people's free will, right? Like that, you can't go against God.
Mm-hmm.
If it's selfish, I think I would like to be able to come up with information the way AI does. Like just like you don't need to Google it, just ask me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll have it.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
That's a very Reverend Breeze answer for sure.
For sure.
I'd be like,
That's
hey, Aaron.
And I would say,
How many dimples does a
I would
golf
say-
ball have?
yes, Dave. And then you would ask what question?
I would say, I would ask a very difficult mathematical equation and
Give
just
me-
have it like that.
Give me one. Let's try it.
What is 8,283 times 78?
28,327,000.
That's amazing.
And completely
It's
wrong.
incorrect, but it's
Completely
amazing.
What if you actually Googled and it was right though?
There's 0% chance that was right.
It could have been.
So there it is. There it is. If we had 3 wishes, we would definitely make the world a better place. I'd be intelligent. You'd be rich. My intelligence would turn into money at some point. Dave would have chicken and world peace and what was your
Financial security.
Financial security.
That's nice.
That
sounds
an
like such-
adult, grown.
Yeah, that sounds
man
like
thing
someone
to
who's worked hard for
Yeah,
a
just-
long time.
Yeah, it's just.
That's not
just-
great. That's not greedy. That's realistic. Like,
No, that's true.
because honestly, I mean, like, I think that with the Lord, I'm like, Lord, I know that it's a greedy thing. We just say that, but I've told that to the Lord many times. Don't give me what I can't handle. I don't want to miss you. Like, I don't care
Yeah.
what that looks like. If that means struggling, then that's the way that it is. Because I want to be with the Lord, and I know that's heavy and that's serious, but that's the honest truth. It's like he's before all that. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying that again. I know we're having fun talking, but
No, but I kind of we can kind of go with that because I think that spurred an interesting question. Difficult prayers, right? Prayers that we know we should pray that are mature prayers in the Lord, but are difficult because it could quite possibly bring some type of sacrifice, something like that. Does any come to mind that you guys have had to go into before?
Yeah, I think that it can even be. I had the opportunity to speak out over in Sanger this last week over at Bethel, and I think it what that question definitely ties into what the topic of service was, is when his expectation requires our yes on our lives. Like he has an expectation, and our yes to him sometimes means saying yes to difficult things. It's Jonah, for instance, was a thing that I used. Was his prayer was destroy Nineveh, like get rid of them, wipe them off the face of the earth. And I have every right to feel the way that I feel because they've murdered and killed and raped and pillaged my family and my homeland. So kill them all. Well, God said, well, yeah, I know that's what you want, but my expectation for you is to go and start revival for Nineveh. And he had to come into agreement with what that is. And there's times that we've prayed prayers that are hard. Yeah. When we say yes to his will, yes to his ways, and we pray, God, what is this? We do have an expectation. Yeah. And maybe you guys don't. Maybe you're just open for whatever he says. But there's times that I have prayed with the expectation and the hope that the answer would be this. Yeah. Like I'm praying a thing, and I'm not just praying it for no reason. I would really hope that this would be the outcome of this prayer. But if it's not, I have to say yes to what his answer is to that. And there's times it's been very difficult. There's been times it's, Lord, this opportunity is open, that opportunity is open, this job, that job, whatever it is. And I pray into it, hoping that the answer is yes, go do it. But then when I get the no back, then I have to go to my wife, and we have to have difficult conversations, and we've prayed about it. She goes, I feel the same way. I mean, I think there have been some very difficult prayers prayed by all of us. I mean, look, we're all sitting here, and this, you know what I mean?
Yeah, any come to your mind?
Yeah. You know, you kind of mentioned a while back, like sometimes we'll be praying a prayer, and it'll be something like, Lord, help me get to work today. Help my car get to work today. And then one time you said, yeah, there's world hunger, but that's good too.
Right.
Like, you know, and it got me thinking about that. And honestly, with not all joking aside, since that time, I have caught myself praying prayers for myself. And I've said, you know what, Lord, if you would do this for that person, if you would, you know, and start, instead of just being always asking the Lord for me, myself, and I, but to think about other issues and be like, so I don't know that that's hard, but it's a different way of thinking for sure. And I have you to thank for that. So,
I heard this said before that if I took, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have, I never will again. Right. And then you can add me, myself, and I. If you took all 6 of those topics out of your prayer life, would you have one?
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's very, very, because there is times, and I'll admit it, that it can be difficult to pray for something other than my family, something for other than this church, something other than my ministry. And that sounds selfish and that sounds bad. And I get that. But there is times that it is like, we can be selfish in that. And we're like, yeah, but I'm struggling. And like, now you're bringing all this stuff to me. And now we got this, and this, and this is what I'm supposed to pray over. When look at my home life, look at the way this is. I'm in ministry and it feels like everything's going crazy. And it's as if God says, yeah, sweet. But if I know the numbers, if I know the hair that's on your head, the number of hairs that's on your head, if I know when a sparrow falls from the sky, I know what your situation is, and I'm bringing something else to your attention. So you need to pray into that.
Yeah.
Right.
And we can look at that as, 2 different ways, that is something that is to be not taken lightly. It should be bring humility and humble me, but at the same time for God to trust you with something to pray over and to pray into is also like, it's pretty cool, I think.
If we look at Jesus' life, he was very aware of why he was on this planet.
Sure.
And he knew about the time period, because he would say, it's not my time yet. Like the sand is running out on his life, and he knows it's coming quickly. And the entire time he's healing people, others. He's not saying, somebody help me. A terrible day is coming. He's healing people. There's this flooding to him. I mean, he's constantly not about his own agenda. He's about everyone else's when his time's running out.
Yeah.
And that ought to scream to us like, look, let's be about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so I've been on the other end of the spectrum. I've experienced both where, your prayer life is centered around you or your whatever. But it took me a long time to even get there because I felt so like ashamed or unworthy to even pray for myself. It's like, and it's so dumb because that's not the heart of the Father, but you don't need to be worried about me. Like, don't waste your time on me kind of a thing. So I'd pray for others and for things, whatever. And then I finally got to a place comfortable with God where it was like, okay, I can pray for myself, and then I've gotten into, like we all do, kind of praying for just like what I want. But I think, and I don't mean this to be a cliche, I think the hardest prayer to pray is thy will be done.
100%.
Right? Like, not just obviously in Jesus's case, because you can only imagine, but when you pray that, you have an understanding that his will might not be your will. And
Whatever that looks like.
what does that look? Yeah, like what is that? That's going to cause sacrifice.
Yeah.
It's going to cause trial and tribulation, because when you're following Christ, those things, it is his will that you go through certain things for your growth, for your maturity, all of these things.
It's very much when we pray, the Lord's Prayer, what we say is, on earth as it is in heaven, the kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven, that whole statement. That's usually so attributed to like a worship service and what heaven looks like and the kingdom of heaven. And I know I say it all the time when we do our gavels and when we do our sunburns and we do all the worship nights and everything like that. But then when you just said that on earth as it is in heaven was absolutely being boiled in oil and crucified upside down.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that was the will of the Father. Like this is what you're doing.
Right.
And you're going to go and you're going to think that it's going to be one way and it's going to be something totally different. Your mindset was that Jesus was going to come. You realized he was the Lamb of God, he's the Messiah, and that you're thinking he's going to come up and set up a physical kingdom here on earth, and you're going to get freedom from Romans, and all these things are going to happen. That is not at all what happened. And then you had to say yes to a crucifixion. You had to say yes to be boiled in oil. You had to say yes to being stoned. You had to say yes to being snake bitten and shipwrecked and going through all of these things. And then one guy says, I'm not even worthy to be crucified the same way Christ is. You're going to have to do it to me upside down. Yeah. I think when we pray, thy kingdom come and thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, we really, as ministers, I think we have maybe a window into what that means, maybe. But I think it's such a broader, deeper, wider thing than what we even understand that we're praying. When we pray really for his kingdom come and really for his will to be done, what does that look like,
Yeah, I heard one guy say that he was talking and he said, when we get to heaven someday, he said there'll be a group of martyrs standing in a circle talking to one another, and they'll be saying to each other, what happened to you? And he says, well, I was pulled apart by horses and I was boiled in oil. And then you walk up in the circle and you're standing there and they turn and look at you. And what do you have to say for yourself about what you had to deal with? Somebody took your parking spot at Walmart. I mean,
I think that's very valid. I think that in all of us, there are things that we do need. Now, it may not be that type of thing where we're martyred physically for the cause of Christ, but there are some things on the inside of us that I think every single person, it needs to be martyred for the cause of Christ.
Yeah, 100% agree.
That I was just gonna say, like the yes that was in the heart of Peter and the disciples, anybody who's been martyred, and all of the unknown, all of those who just refused to give up the name of Christ and have died for his sake. That the yes that's in their heart is the same yes that should be in our heart, but at the same time, like, we're blessed to not live in a country where
Mm-hmm.
we have to, you know, potentially be martyred for Christ.
Yeah, that's not.
I think, but in that, we can be thankful that we have the benefit to worship the way we do openly, but in that, I think it does develop this kind of selfish Christianity mentality that can be dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we don't. I think a lot of times, like the prayer is prayed, "Thy will be done," is really like, "Thy will be done." That's in the scope of my will. Like the things that we like. Let's draw the little Venn diagram chart, and the things that are in the middle, your will, my will, whatever's like. Let those things be done.
Yes.
Right. But anytime it's like, you know, especially if it's like where to live, what church to attend, who to submit to, what ministry to start, or what job to take or give up. When it's like life decisions, I think it's almost easier for some to pretend like God doesn't speak specifically than it is to admit that I don't want to do what he wants me to do.
Absolutely. That reminds me, and I was talking to Pastor Dave a little bit about this yesterday. Joseph, in his response to what life dealt to him.
Yeah.
Right.
Never a coarse word as far as that is written down. I mean,
Right.
we don't, I mean, not everything he ever said was written down, but as far as the example that we're given through the word,
Joseph's in heaven like, dang it, I figured it out.
obviously we don't know, but from the example that we're given through the word is that it was always a yes to everything. There was, and one of the things is we don't live in a country where slavery exists and things, and some of the things that he had to face. But one of the things they said is that the slavers that bought him were supposed to treat him like a slave. Potiphar was supposed to treat him like a servant. That's your role. That's what you are. The jailer is supposed to treat him like a prisoner.
Right.
When he gets to the palace, he's supposed to be a servant. Like there's there in tell the dream to the king, and then whatever that looks like for him that's what you're supposed to do. That's why would he be disappointed in the fact that somebody is treating him exactly the way he's supposed to be treated? What I told him, I said probably the most devastating thing to Joseph in the entire situation isn't when he got pushed into the pit, because he was already done dirty by his brothers all the time. They were constantly making fun of him. As far as he knew, this is a practical joke, and they're going to come back and they're going to get me. When they dropped the rope down to pull him up out of the pit, can you imagine the relief that he felt?
Yeah.
Right.
Thinking like, oh man, they're back, they got me.
Yeah.
And then with the same rope that they saved you with, they tie you up with.
Come on.
Yeah.
And then they sell you into slavery.
Right.
So
That's good.
everyone around him treated him exactly the way he was supposed to be treated, other than the ones that were supposed to love him unconditionally.
Woo, that'll preach.
And he was in that moment, he had to condition his mind. In that moment, and then I'm sure it happened over and over and over again, there was something in him that said, I have a dream. I know what the Lord has spoke to me. I know what Yahweh has said to me. I know where he visited me. I know that this is real. And so I will martyr whatever that is on the inside of me to make sure that I just move forward. Whatever the next thing is on the process, whatever next thing I got to get through. I'm about to be sold into slavery. I don't know what's next, but if I hold on to a grudge, if I hold on to bitterness, if I hold on to hurt, if I hold on to this thing, I'll never make it through what comes next, because I will constantly be worried about what's happening here. So he had to completely martyr that part of himself, offer that up to the Lord and say, whatever you have next for me, I say yes to, and I'll do my best in that situation.
It is really good. And I think, you know, in the Bible, we're likened to clay on the potter's wheel, right? The thing about that, though, is clay doesn't have a free will. And that's the whole point, right? It's like, who is the clay to tell the potter what to make of it? But we're supposed to be like that clay that has no will. However, God said, I love you and I'm going to give you a will.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so now we're supposed to be like that clay. Imagine if that clay really did have a will, though. And it's like, no, stop. You know, it's like this idea that like we understand his will is perfect, but it hurts the pressing, the shaping, the molding, the stretching, all of these things. And then our will kicks in on top of that. And it almost seems now I'll preface this by saying it is not impossible, completely 100% doable, but it almost seems impossible to, in the midst of it not being your will, in the midst to having emotion and feelings and all of these things, to stay smack dab in his will.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you guys, what is it that you would say to anybody watching? How do you do this successfully? What's required? What are some tools? What do you guys suggest?
And when you figure it out, let me know.
One of the things that I do is like, I'll say, I'll just tell the Lord openly, directly, you know, like, hey, you gave me this free will. And I'll say to him, I don't have a whole lot to offer you, but you gave me free will, and it's my choice and my desire to take my free will and lay it at your feet. Like, I mean, he gave you free will. You can choose to do whatever you want to do. And I tell him, I choose you with my free will that you've given me. I choose you, Lord. I lay that there. So
I think that one thing, and even what you said, I agree with, but there's this thing in me. No, you're right. I don't have a lot to offer, but what you gave me to offer you is my spirit and my soul and who I am.
That's it.
Like, and that is worth something. That's everything that he came to the earth to die for. And he said, if this is going to be a love affair between you and me, and this is going to be a relationship, then I can't force you to do anything. It's going to have to be a very consistent daily application of your will, your way. And there's times that I have found myself to where you do get into a groove to where it's like everything is good, everything is great, everything's going great. I'm right smack dab in the will of the Lord. Everything feels wonderful. I think sometimes as ministers we will go into it's hard and it's heavy and it's going to be this and it's going to be that and it's going to, you know, for lack of a better term, it's going to suck. And yes, it does at times, but it does at times. But when I get to go up to camp, and for those of you, God, that have ever been to camp, it can be rough. But I got to take my son Wyatt to summer camp for the first time, and it was not easy. It was hot. There's bugs, and I don't mind hot and bugs, but I'm just saying it's dirty. It was gross. Like the water was overflowing out of the toilets, and it was just so much stuff was happening. The septic tank
sounds like camp.
Yeah, septic tank got backed up, everything. And so it was like, God, I don't know if we're supposed to be here. This is what it was. I don't know if we're supposed to be here. And this isn't a big thing. This is a little thing. This is church camp. I don't know. Is this your will? Am I ever supposed to come back here again? I don't like this. The kids are, I guess, having fun. They're all dirty. They all stink. They all smell. And then that night, I watched a man who I respect very, very much go up and lay hands on my son Wyatt, and his hands shoot straight up in the air, and tears begin to stream down his face while his face is covered in dirt. And it was like, okay, so there's joy in the middle of what is seemingly difficult and seemingly hard. His will is full of joy and peace and rest if I will get what my expectation of what it's supposed to look like out of the way.
Yeah.
You know, I have to, my mind has to become as best as I can his mind and his thought processes and his viewpoints and what does he say about a thing. And I might think it's this, but what does the word say?
Sure.
You know?
That's some good stuff right there. You were on a roll today, bro.
Woo. And I would I think as married men, one of the things that bring us the most joy, and correct me if this doesn't apply to you, is knowing that we've pleased our wives.
100%.
Right? Whatever it is, it's the little things, the big things, whatever. When your wife makes known to you, hey, thank you, that's exactly what I wanted, what I needed, that's perfect.
It's the greatest feeling.
Nothing beats that, right? So what I've realized is that's what helps me tremendously with my walk with Christ, is when I have understood that even the small things that I choose him in, he is so pleased with.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's you know, and if you've ever been in a place, maybe you're a married man watching this or whatever, you've ever been in a place where you don't feel like you're able to please your wife, or you know, you just can't do it right, or you can't do it enough, or it's never good enough or not, whatever that might be, or there's always more, you feel so defeated.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I have walked with the Lord in that same vein. Like, I feel defeated.
Mhm.
Like, I just can't do enough, can't do it right.
Right.
And I don't know exactly what it was, but my mentality switched, and he really kind of showed me that saying yes in the small things is such a pleasing thing to him. And that maybe I messed that thing up, or I didn't choose right over there, but he's looking at my entire life and my heart and the desire to please him. That's one of the things I wish, like, as a man, like, I wish my wife would see the desire, even though I might fall short and I didn't do it right or enough or whatever it is, like, for her to see my heart and be like, no, it's okay. Like, I know you love me. Like, that's the best thing in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
and
good.
and how much more of the love of the Father is that, where he's just like, no, I see who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
That's
I'm
good.
not looking for perfection. I'm looking for your heart, which you gave me. You know,
Right.
that keeps me going.
Yeah. But I think you showed me, I forgive me, I guess, hopefully I'll make it to heaven. I've never watched Chosen ever. Like it's not a thing.
It's a great show.
But yesterday we were talking and you saying the little things to me is such a, reminded me of the scene you showed me, because there's something that is when Simon throws the net on the other side, but they did it in a way that I had never seen it or pictured in my head. It wasn't like they were out in the middle of the lake and the sea, and Jesus is at the shore yelling at him, cast your net to the other, like screaming. It was like he's at the shore, the boat is up on the water, and there's almost like this thing where Jesus is saying, did you try the other side? And he's like, oh, dude, for real? Like, and he goes, at your word. I think I'm gonna start a sermon series with the youth called "At Your Word," and he didn't even throw the whole net over. He just barely tossed the net, and he was doing it unto the Lord, but not maybe in full faith, and was like, dude, this is bro, for real, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do this unto you. And he throws the net in, and then all of a sudden you see the fish begin to bubble, and they're grabbing and they're doing everything they can, and the boat begins to sink. And what struck me more than anything was it happened in a place where the fish shouldn't have been.
Right.
If you cast the net on the other side and you're out in the middle of the lake, sweet, you're at the shore. This is little. This isn't supposed to be possible. I don't know why this is happening. But at his word, he goes, okay, even if in the middle of it, my faith, and I think sometimes we struggle with that, is that, but what if I don't have 100% complete faith in his will, then I'm not doing it right.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Because we're human and we struggle, and doubt is a real thing. And so it's, in the face of doubt, doing it anyways, that's faith.
Yeah.
That it's not saying that I completely 100% believe and then do it.
Right.
That's just a surety that it's going to work out.
Yeah.
When he asks us to do something in faith, and then we do it, even the little things, it's a little thing to say, well, Lord, I guess I'm going to do this, whatever it is. I'm going to pick up that piece of trash, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, or go a little bit beyond what I normally would do. He looks at that, just like you said, and he's so pleased.
Yeah.
And in that scene on The Chosen, when he just kind of looks at Simon, like, what's up, dude? I feel like that's
He's
what
got
it is
tears.
in heaven. Is
I think that's one of my favorite things. I haven't watched all The Chosen, but I've seen quite a bit of it. That's one of my favorite things about it, is that it shows scriptures and passages that we've read for years in a different light, but accurate.
Yeah.
And it kind of just opens your perspective, like, oh, that could have been like that. That's really good.
No, I'd get it complete. It was great.
Yeah.
I heard it was really
Yeah.
cool.
I heard it said that courage is not the absence of fear, but deciding that something else is more important than your fear.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think that is also in some way true with faith, that it's not the absence of unbelief, but it's deciding that thing that I'm supposed to believe for and have faith for is more important than my unbelief.
Yeah.
And so you're just like, all right, I'm just going to do it at your word.
Yeah.
At your
At
word.
your word,
is like, at your word means not in my mentality, not in my effort, not because I believe or because I think or just because you said it, I'm going to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then obviously he's Jesus. And so when he says, go find a fish and open its mouth and take out this gold coin, and pay your taxes. It's like I always wonder, like, you think that far-fetched idea or whatever. You think that gold coin just appeared in the fish, or like a year ago it went down and ate this gold coin and it's been swimming and living
I think
life?
my mind works the same way. Yeah, because I think that it's the way that he works is that nothing was it like
nothing
that
goes to waste.
Nothing goes to waste. Exactly.
Yeah.
So was it?
I remember on
that-
January 4th that fish, you know,
yeah, or
ate
did it
that
just
coin.
appear in his mouth? I'm with you,
Right.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
As he
yeah.
said the words,
Mm.
the world was created.
Right.
As he said those words, the coin. That's the way. Bruce Almighty, when he goes, "How many fingers you got behind my back?"
right.
And the guy's doing all this stuff
Yeah.
behind his back, and he goes 7, and he goes, "Aha!" And he goes to hold up 5. There's 2 more,
Yeah.
Right.
and the creativity of our God and the spoken words.
I kind of see it like, I kind of picture this as the way the Lord works is, from the creation of the coin and the passing through marketplaces, and like that was all of that he put to purpose.
Absolutely.
And
I
it's
think
one
that's
of
the way it
those-
works.
I think it's one of those, like, all things work together for your good, in the marketplaces. And then all of a sudden some guy flips it to this kid who has it for a while. He drops it. Some guy picks it up, puts it in his pocket, whatever. Maybe he's out there fishing and it falls out. And then someday some fish comes by, gets eaten by another fish. And then it's like, and all of a sudden it ends up right where it's supposed to be.
I think, and
Jesus
yeah.
knew all of that.
all of it.
I think that's the way. I think more that way, because why was it on that day, at that time, in that
Yeah.
moment, that even Abram was going to sacrifice Isaac? Why
Yeah.
then? Why then? Well, because the Lord knew that it was going to be on that day, at that time, in that moment, in that year, that ram was going to be walking up that side of the hill, because it had been created that way, that when they got to that point, that it would be at that point that ram got his horn stuck in the thicket.
Right.
That if I had been a day early, I would have missed him. If I would have been a day late, the ram would have already been dead and he wouldn't have been worthy of being sacrificed. But it happened at that moment. It is a collective thing of creation to where it all works together
Right.
for good. Nothing happens by
And
mistake.
was that
Right?
ram just kind of chilling in a field, grazing or doing whatever it does, and then all of a sudden it hears the voice of the Creator? It's like, now, and it makes its way towards
Yeah,
that
what-
hill,
exactly.
up that hill.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. And
Yeah.
but all of that to say, like, I don't think God wastes time. He doesn't waste effort. He doesn't waste creation. He doesn't waste intention. He's very purposeful, and that, who knows, that maybe you are that little boy or that little girl holding that coin for such a short time, and then you get mad because you lost it and you can't find it, and who knows what God's gonna do with that thing.
Yeah.
Like he's just such a creative God. Obviously he created creation. So but anyway, you guys have any final thoughts? Anything you guys want to talk about? We're coming up to an hour.
To an hour, yeah. Yeah, kind of. I was thinking about this the other day, and when I don't have as much as I used to. I used to have quite a few of these meetings. When I would get together with other ministers or other youth pastors or young adults pastors, whatever, I would always we'd sit down and we'd have all these conversations. And I got this question from Pastor Tim was, "What's God saying to you?" And I would do that, not a little bit for shock factor, and maybe it was out of arrogance, and I didn't mean for it to be, but it was like, what is he saying to you? Because I saw something on the other day, and I told you about it, that I get these texts, these emails from this youth pastor thing, to where for like $129.99, they will email me every sermon I'm supposed to speak for the entire year. Bullet points, everything's broken down, the prayers you're supposed to pray, everything. I don't even have to do anything except for just download it to my phone, repeat what somebody else said or wrote down, and then I apparently will be successful in ministry. What is God saying to you right now? What is something for you, for the body, for whatever, just in kind of closing thoughts? Like what's he saying specifically to you? Not vision for the church, not vision.
Sure.
That's not, I'm saying, what is God saying to you?
Right. We were just talking just right now about the ram that was caught and thinking about you know, the Lord told him to go sacrifice his son, and he's there with a knife over his hand. And how important is a right now word? The Lord said, wait, I've made provision. And if we went by, oh no, but 3 days ago, he told me to stick him. And now, you know, but to hear the right now word and what the Lord is saying right now. So to answer that question is like, you know, the Lord's been speaking to me about bringing to my awareness how we all may have forms of idolatry in our life that we may not even be aware of. In the Bible, you know, it used to be big idols like the 90-foot statue that King Nebuchadnezzar set up and said, you must bow to it, or Asherah poles, and what the Lord's been showing me lately and in my own life I've been dealing with, and you may need to have the Lord speak with you about things, is that we can really devote hours and hours and hours per day to certain things, whether it's TV or a phone or the cars or whatever it may be in our lives, and then turn around and give the Lord a 30-second prayer. And what's been dealing with me on, you know, even video games on our phones that, I mean, I'll just tell them myself, there's been times I've sat down for 2-3 hours playing games on my phone, you know, and then the Lord's been dealing with that. And so, as you know, that's some of the stuff that he's been talking to me about is like, hey, you know, deal with some of the things. And if that means deleting it, if that means letting him tell you time allotments or whatever that may look like. So just in answering that, the Lord's been showing me that, you know, deal with some of these things because they can get between him and us. And when something gets between him and us, that's an idol. You know, we're looking at it rather than looking at him. So that, to answer that question, that's the things that the Lord's been dealing with and with me personally.
Yeah, that's good. For me, he's really lately, and I don't even know. You know how sometimes God shows you something and he gives you an understanding, but you don't really know how to put it into the perfect words. It's kind of what this is, but he's showing me that his measuring stick is different. That it's not a measuring stick that has numbers on it. That his scale is not something that weighs the way that we think. And in that, it's allowing me to find a place in him that is comforting. I think I've probably mentioned on our podcast before that I've struggled with like the measuring up kind of thing, just always focusing on my negatives and my downfalls and things like that. While knowing in my mind and heart scriptures about him being our refuge and our strong tower and our, you know, abiding in him and all of these things, knowing that, but feeling like this, right? And he's really shown me, because I'm such like a logical thinker, and like if I see 1 + 2 is 3, and you know, this is a straight line to that. Like if it makes sense to me, I can't get away from it. It has to make sense to me for me to like to really grasp onto it. And so when I'm focusing on my failures, it doesn't make sense to me for him to be pleased with me. It just doesn't, right? And that we know that that's the beauty of grace. But again, that's something that I've always known in my mind, but it's not been my reality. But he's really shown me a way to where it makes sense to me that he and this is how it starts to make sense to me, is he's showing me that he measures different than we measure, that he's not, you know, the wrong choice might be the wrong choice, but the heart could still be good. Right now, I'm not talking about like it's okay to sin and your heart's in a dark place or a wrong place and you don't care and you're just living how you want. But when you have a heart that genuinely is after pleasing the Father and you fall short from that, you know, he weighs that so much differently. You know, it's my faith in the resurrection and the crucifixion that is even righteousness anyway, right? Like it's the only. And so he's showing me that his measuring stick's different, and that's given me a place to feel safe and comfortable and accepted by him. But while this is a really cool thing too, is while he's doing that, is he's not letting down his standard for my life. He's showing me to meet the standard and showing me like, and really it sounds so elementary, but it's really just producing the fruit of the Spirit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If I can be peaceful and patient and kind and have goodness, and if I could produce self-control and produce these things through the Spirit, then I've done it. Like, I'm doing it. I'm in His will. Like, you can't produce those things in the flesh, right? So it's kind of really that kind of cool thing that's happening and kind of inwardly in me
That's great.
And I haven't mentioned that to anybody. This is the first time I brought it up.
Oh, nice. I think probably for me, a word since the beginning of the year that has really been on my heart is expectation. I think that is something that I've said even in conversations a few different times is the word expectation. I don't know how most years every church in the world has at the beginning of the year, they're like, this is our theme for the year and stuff. I haven't seen that very much this time, 2025. Yeah. But the word expectation and he's challenging me in every aspect of what that word means in all of the definitions. His expectation for me, my expectation of him, my expectation on other people's expectations of me. What's that look like? I think sometimes that we will have, and he convicted me of this the other day, as having grace for myself in areas and then not having grace for somebody else in the same area.
Real thing.
And it's, well, yeah, Lord, I get what you're saying, but they're not meeting the expectation. And the Holy Spirit, I don't know if he talks to you like this. He talks to you, but yeah, but you aren't either, bro.
Yeah.
But you're not either.
Yeah.
You don't. And it was a very real harsh reality that I had to come to is like, you are not meeting the expectation, not the expectation of people. You're not meeting my expectation. And I was like, yeah, but you get in this, like I'm in the truck and I'm having this conversation back and forth with the Lord. But I thought I was doing good. Because I'm not saying you're not. I'm saying you're not meeting the expectation.
Right.
You're not. And in that might sound harsh, but the expectation isn't perfection. The expectation is purity. Mm-hmm. The expectation is, let me love you the way you're supposed to be loved. Quit trying to earn this thing. Mm-hmm. But in that, the expectation, there's a standard. Is I don't get to do whatever I want. I don't get to say whatever I want. I don't get to act however I want, because that's not pure.
Right.
That's
true.
I think the expectation is really, and he showed me who I am and who I could be and who we all are and who we could be by showing me a mirror in the Word.
Yeah.
Which how and this is what, and I don't know if I'll get off of it anytime soon, but the differences between Jonah, Joseph, and David. And all three of them, and the way that each one of them either rose to the expectation of the Lord, or they met it most of the time, like David, but like, bro, you really screwed up a lot of times. Or are you like a Joseph who seemingly never messed up, and it seemed like it was just, you always met the expectation. And mirroring and seeing myself in all three of those men, he's revealing some things to me, some areas that need work and areas that he goes, it's okay to take a pat on the back from the Lord sometimes. Like, no, you're doing a good job, man.
Yeah.
But in this, you're not. But in this, you're really doing well. I think that's probably what the Lord has kind of been speaking to me, is just like, not so much my expectation of him, because we put so much expectation on the Lord and what the prayers that we were talking about. Like, I'm praying for this, I'm praying for this, I'm praying for this, I'm praying for this. He goes, but I'm expecting you to do something. Mm. What is his expectation for me in my life? What does that look like for me? How do I walk that out? Tomorrow morning, what does the Lord expect me to do tomorrow? What's his expectation for me? And
that's good.
Yeah.
And then I'll kind of conclude by saying this, because he brought it to my kind of thought process when you said the mirror. The mirror is not the gym, right? The mirror reveals the truth about who you are, what needs to be fixed, what needs to be, improved. And then you go and you eat right. You go to the gym and you make those improvements. And the Word of God, when we look and we read, like, a lot of times it's not just enough just to read. I mean, how many times does the Bible talk about don't just be a hearer of the Word, but be a doer?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So at some point you have to leave the mirror and you have to go and apply it. You have to go and do it. Go get in the spiritual gym and put, eat the spiritual right things and make the right choices spiritually. So in all of what we're talking about with expectation and, measuring up and all these different things, if you're only reading the word, that's a great step. But then there's a point where you have to make that come to life in your day.
Absolutely.
You have to walk it out. You have to make choices based on what you just read in the mirror. And so, for whatever that's worth, that's kind of all I have, guys.
It's good.
Anything else? You guys good?
Ready to rock and roll?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then, everybody, thank you guys for tuning in to the Office Space Podcast. Hopefully, it will not be as long before we see you again. But we love you. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, all of the things. What do they turn on the notifications? Or whatever? I don't do social media.
Yeah.
But do the things that
Like,
are going to
share,
make sure.
subscribe.
Yeah, that you don't.
Link in
miss
the
out.
guns.
See you guys.
Bye.
Office Space.
Office Space.
Office Space.
Office Space.
Office Space.